Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, it's Jose here, welcoming you to another episode of Amazing Worlds, where today I am going to be reviewing Forced Perspectives by American author Tim Powers. And if you haven't done so, please check my Tim Powers author overview video to get a bit more flavor for what Tim Powers does. Now, Forced Perspectives is actually the second book in the Vickery and Castine trilogy. I didn't know. I didn't know that. Should have done my research before reading the book. But don't need to read the first book to enjoy this one. Events in the first book are referenced, but it's not necessary. You can follow this, it works as a standalone, and sometimes it's nice to start in the middle, flash back to the beginning, and see the conclusion of the arc of the story. So that's okay. The three books in the trilogy, if I check out, are Alternate Routes, that's book one, Forced Perspectives, book two, and Falling Skies, which is forthcoming because this book was actually first printed in 2020. So, what have we got here? This is classic Tim Powers. Tim Powers usually takes a real-life historic event and builds fiction around it. So, the historical event that serves as the backdrop of this story is the filming of the Ten Commandments movie by director Cecil B. DeMille. That happened, and apparently, I didn't know this, which is why you should read Tim Powers to find about interesting, worthless trivia, is that the Egyptian sets that they built for the movie were buried in the California desert at the end of shooting the movie. Didn't know that. Now, why is that relevant to the story? Well, it's because hidden amongst the set of the movie, there's this weird Egyptian hieroglyph that, when you look at it for like a minute, some sort of period of time, you become kind of liable, you become kind of self-suggested to being induced into a communal mind entity, which he calls an egregore, where basically some mad cultist is trying to raise this creature, and in order to do so, you have to submit yourself, lose your identity into this communal being thing to sort of feed the egregore. And squeaky chair. And so the first time someone tried to raise this egregore in the 60s failed, but someone is trying again. Now, our titular characters, Vickery and Castine, are needed to raise the egregore. Because of the events in the first book, they can see kind of flashbacks of the past in the present time. So their minds are, quite necessary, quite, they play a role, they can act as superconductors to raise this egregore thing. So they're being chased after, and they're going to be forced to stare at this hieroglyph and get them to raise this creature. Cueing some little Mexican boy with a gun, also throw in the mix an Egyptian civil servant that is chasing this ancient hieroglyph as well. And for good measure, why not, a Mexican chauffeur service. All of that happens in LA, and of course, because it is Tim Powers, we have to have ghosts. So there's ghosts pullulating around, getting involved in the action, because that's what Tim Powers does. There's ghosts there. So all in all, it was an enjoyable book. Not very long, because it's a very small paperback edition. It's just slightly over 500 pages, but reads really quickly. You get thrown right into the action. The main protagonists are quite cool, and there's the fantastical, magical elements, the historical background, some real life actors from the 60s are visited in the book, and I think it's a very good introduction to Tim Powers and the way he writes and the kind of books that he writes. So I would recommend it. Now, the book is not free of criticism, and it's one that I have highlighted in the past, and also I think when I did my review of Hide Me Among the Graves, which is another of Tim Powers' books I've reviewed in the channel. And it is that there is not a magic system per se in the Tim Powers universe. I'm not even sure that all his books are meant to happen in the same universe, but there are commonalities. And it's the way the main characters deal with the ghosts. So they are aware that ghosts exist, and they seem to be aware of things that you can do to keep the ghosts at bay, evade them or handle them, that are never explained to the reader. So in Tim Powers' books, you never get an exposition, an info dump. You never get an exposition scene to let you know why the protagonists do or act in a certain way. And that can be a little bit annoying because in every book is something a little bit different. So you're not really fully comprehending and getting to grips with how the supernatural entities work here. So for instance, in this book, apparently when you're dealing with ghosts, if you're doing maths at the same time that you're dealing with the ghosts, that confuses them, that makes them sort of stay a little bit away from you. Why? We're never quite sure, it's never explained. Also in this book, only the people that have actually killed someone can see the ghosts. So again, something that didn't encounter in other of his books. So there's always little bits and pieces there, such as the Mexican chauffeur service boss lady is aware of the ghosts, and she can tweak the cars and modify them a little bit in ways that makes them ghost proof, so the ghosts cannot see you or track you while you are in the car. So it's all a little bit lacking of background or what are the rules, what's the framework under which we're operating here. I wish that had been set at some point and we just run with it in all the books, but that's what it is. Who am I to criticize an author that has won every single possible fantasy award that is there to win? So, after having read Force Perspectives, probably tempted to go back to book one, Alternate Routes, and check out the events that are referenced here. All in all, a nice, enjoyable read to cleanse the palate between books on these long-winded, pretty bad, trashy, boring fantasy series that I am not going to name. Anyway, this is all I've got for today. Thank you ever so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think, leave your comments below. If you want to get in touch to organize some kind of online chat, whatever, I always leave my email in the description below. Take loads and loads of care, and I'll see you next time. Bye!